Welcome to the pit of darkness, a prison where spiritual energy doesn't even exist and the tyrants of the upper realm use humans like puppets, turning them into nothing but cold-blooded killers. But even in this void, a fire was burning through a guy named Luo Jang whose father sacrificed his entire life and soul just to break the chains of slavery for his son. He told him he'd eventually shake the upper realm, become a true cultivator, and bring justice to every innocent soul. And now Luo Jiang stands at the threshold of a new world with a vow in his heart that's gonna rock the foundations of reality, as he swore that no matter how insane the obstacles get, he's gonna fulfill his father's dream and forge a new path by smashing through the highest peaks of cultivation. But is that even possible in a world where spiritual power is literally non-existent, and will Luo Jiang actually reach the top, or will he just end up as another puppet on a string in this story titled Walking the Way All Alone? To start things off, we learn that the Zhongxian world is home to billions of living beings featuring 180 upper sects, 800 side sects, and 3,000 spiritual paths, but the catch is that only a handful of humans actually possess a spiritual root. Within this world there's a lower realm known as Yinzhou, which is unique because it's completely void of spiritual energy, meaning the people there can never truly cultivate. Yet even without that energy, the land is filled with a bizarre blood energy that allows the locals to practice martial arts and dark arts, making Yinzhou a total outlier in the Zhongxian world. Eventually the cultivators of the Zhongxian world noticed that corruption was spiraling out of control in the lower realm, where the rich bullied the weak and slaughtered the innocent, so the 7 killing sect from the upper realm stepped in to establish the Yinzhou assassination hall right in the heart of Yinzhou. This hall became a legendary assassination organization, taking orders from the 7 killing sect to hunt down the most ruthless and evil villains, effectively becoming the living nightmare for anyone doing wrong. We're then introduced to 3 guys from this organization who use artificial wings to dive off a massive waterfall, since people in Yinzhou can't fly naturally, and they head straight for a carriage moving through the forest. The assassins launch an explosive ambush and dive down amidst the smoke and fire, but the guy inside the carriage doesn't even flinch as he yells out how they dare disturb his sleep and asks if they have any idea that he's the Marquis of Yinzhou. Suddenly a guy named Minglong activates his powers and smashes the carriage with his blade while his teammates jump into the fray, but the Marquis releases a massive burst of energy that blows them back. Our MC Luo Jiang quickly realizes the Marquis is using a protective talisman and tells him that the Yinzhou assassination hall has come for his life, so his little tricks won't save him. The Marquis mocks them, saying idiots like them won't survive long and that they have no clue who they're messing with, but Minglong fires back that Tianqing has committed unforgivable crimes by killing innocents and assaulting women. Xiaoqing adds that heaven sent them to decapitate him and bring justice to his victims, which just makes the guy laugh as he dares them to try, and they all launch a coordinated attack. However, Tianqing's protective talisman is so cracked that their hits don't even land, and he uses a massive energy wave to shove them all back before revealing he's actually a disciple of the Black Dragon Sect. He claims his sect has no beef with the 7 killing sect and asks if they're scared of the punishment for breaking the rules, since he suspects they're acting on their own. Minglong is stunned because the Black Dragon Sect is one of the immortal sects, and Xiaoqing is confused since cultivators are never supposed to be in Yinzhou, but Jiang observes him closely and realizes the guy is a legit cultivator decked out in heavy armor, with a giant sword and a solid defense. Jiang notices the guy is only defending himself, so he challenges Tianqing to take off his armor and show his face, but when he refuses, the fight kicks off again. This time Tianqing fights back for real, slamming Minglong and Xiaoqing into the ground with single punches until Jiang steps in to handle him. Xiaoqing catches a break and manages to pierce his armor slightly with her sword, but the guy is still too much for the 3 of them combined as he tosses them aside like ragdolls. In the heat of the moment, Jiang pulls out a magical artifact and unleashes a barrage of attacks so powerful that even with the talisman the Marquis gets wounded. The trio goes in for the kill and Jiang plunges his sword into him, but the guy shatters his own sword to blast them back and leave them injured. Even though Jiang is struggling against Tianqing, he refuses to give up, because while the assassination hall members are masters of combat, they lack cultivation and spiritual energy. Still, Jiang managed to damage the armor with pure skill, making Tianqing admit he didn't expect a lowly assassin to be such a pain. Jiang claps back that his protective tools might look flashy, but they're just basic survival gear, and suggests that the Black Dragon Sect probably wants him dead or will eventually get rid of him. This strikes a nerve, and Jiang doubles down, asking if the sect would have ever dumped him in a spiritless wasteland like Yinzhou if he actually had a spiritual root. Jiang tells him he's just taking out his frustration on the world through evil acts, and declares that as a member of the Yinzhou assassination hall he's going to finish him off on behalf of heaven. The guy just laughs hysterically, bragging that his father is a true cultivator at the Foundation establishment level who will destroy the assassination hall, but Jang doesn't care. He charges at Tianqing, chanting a mantra as a massive divine power surges from his eyes, and he uses that power to vaporize the incoming attack. This is the divine punishment technique, and Jiang uses it to land a devastating punch that sends the guy flying through solid rock. Jiang leaps into the air and drops down on him with a series of punches so massive the entire area shakes until the evil marquis is finally dead. Back at the scene, Xiaoqing looks at Minglong and asks if they should still go through with the plan now that they've seen Jiang's divine powers. Minglong says there's no turning back now, and in an instant Xiaoqing lunges at him with her sword, but the MC was already one step ahead as he dodges her strike and starts taking them both on at once, using his divine punishment technique to pin them to the ground, before asking if they're finally done acting like his best friends, since he knew all along they were planning to take him out under the guise of friendship. He calls them out for being so selfish that they'd betray their old comrade and the Tianzhou Hall just for a shot at the Ascension Assembly, and Xiaoqing admits she didn't want it to be like this, but there are only 2 spots available this time to escape this trash realm, for the upper realm, which is why they plotted against him. Jiang questions if they really thought the 7 killing sect would let them live after killing him, since the sect pulls all the strings at the assassination hall and would immediately realize they murdered him to ascend, but Xiaoqing retorts that they knew their chances were slim, yet they had to take the risk because they wouldn't even survive until the next assembly. She explains that every year countless people die from the longevity poison, and after losing so many friends last year they feared their number was up and they'd never get another chance to participate, so Jiang acknowledges that the poison is draining their lifespans, but insists it was their choice to be here. To give some context, anyone who joins the Tianzhou Hall is injected with this poison by the 7 killing sect to ensure absolute loyalty, as the sect treats them like disposable human weapons, and the only way to purge the poison is to reach the upper realm and cultivate, which drove the 2 friends to betray the MCA. Jiang then drops a bombshell by telling them there's another way to remove the poison by simply quitting martial arts and leading a normal life so the poison fades naturally, but Xiaoqing argues that without their skills they'd be helpless and she'd rather die trying to ascend than live like a peasant. Minglong tells Jiang to stop mocking them because even though they are all assassins, Jiang always acts so self-righteous, and he's been sick of that act for a long time, so he decides to prove he's a true killer by activating a martial art technique called the Rampaging Dragon transformation to finish Jiang off. However, Jiang uses divine punishment again to instantly crush the attack and slam him into the dirt, where he mounts his chest and drags him across the ground with Minglong's own sword pointed at his throat, making the traitor realize Jiang had been hiding his true power all along. Jiang tells him he could end him right now for the betrayal, but he isn't a monster like them, and as Xiaoqing realizes the fight is over and tells Minglong to give up, they suddenly hear a chilling laugh as Tianqing reveals he's still alive. Emerging in his true form, he mocks their deep friendship and says he loathes people who forgive traitors before calling them ants of the assassination hall, and expressing his rage that mere insects get a chance to ascend while he as a marquis cannot because he lacks a spiritual root. He claims they're only being merciful to earn good karma for their ascension, but declares that none of them are leaving alive as he unleashes dark magic and summons evil forms to surround and possess Jiang's friends using a puppet control technique. Jiang immediately recognizes the spell and uses divine punishment to vaporize the evil forms, but he's worried because his friends are now fully possessed puppets attacking him with everything they've got. Jiang is forced to counterattack, knocking Minglong out with a burst of divine power before shattering Xiaoqing's sword with a single strike and hitting her with a heavy punch to clear the way for a final showdown with Tianqing. Without his armor, the Marquis can't hold out against Jiang's raw power, and the MC uses divine punishment to finally finish him for good, yet even with Tianqing dead, the 2 friends remain possessed, and Jiang realizes with tears in his eyes that he has no other choice but to end them. As Minglong lunges again, Jiang slits his throat, ending his life instantly before turning to Xiaoqing and wounding her with a single slash that snaps her out of the possession just long enough for her to tell him they only did it to survive because ascension is the only way out, and she begs him not to blame them as she dies full of regret. Jiang then flashes back to their earlier secret discussion where Minglong was telling Xiaoqing that since there are only 2 spots and the master always favors the talentless Jiang, they had to remove him from the picture. Xiaoqing had asked what they'd tell the master, and Minglong's plan was to say Jiang died fighting the Marquis while they finished the job, because in the world of Zhongxian only the strong survive, and since Jiang lacks a spiritual root or divine powers, he'd be useless in the upper realm anyway, so there was no point in giving him the chance. Hearing all that from his friends made Jiang feel absolutely crushed, since it hurt him deep down that they'd turn on him just for a chance at ascension. And he realizes that nothing in this world lasts forever and we all eventually return to the dust just like his friends who were now gone. Jiang was overcome with regret over their deaths, but the scene shifts to Wending, Tianqing's father, who discovers his son has been killed and uses his magical powers to piece together exactly what went down. He sees that Tianqing mentioned the Yinzhou assassination hall before he died, and Wending realizes the hall was responsible, cursing the 7 killing sect for raising a pack of mad dogs but declaring they crossed the line this time by taking his son. Back at the Yinzhou assassination hall, Master Xian stands by the soul lamp wall looking depressed as he talks about how life is nothing but a struggle from birth to death where we have to kill those we hate and lose those we love without anyone ever truly being free. Master Xian is feeling this way because the hall is under the thumb of the 7 killing sect, meaning they control everyone's life and death, just as Jiang arrives to report that the Marquis has been executed. Jiang warns him that the guy was the son of a Black Dragon sect cultivator and that his father will definitely come for revenge, which Master Xian suspects is Long Wending, who is likely already on his way to destroy the hall. Master Xian notices that Minglong and Xiaoqing's soul lamps have gone out and asks if they attacked him, so Jiang explains that they did plan to kill him but he tried to spare them since they were friends until they were possessed by the Marquis' evil art. He tells the master he was forced to kill them because breaking that possession was basically impossible, which leaves Elder Xian even more discouraged as he remarks that everyone is a puppet and no one lives by their own choice since they are all just playthings for the 7 kill sect. This is why he previously told Jiang to get out of there and instructs him now to head for the central heaven world to awaken his spiritual roots as fast as possible and start his journey through qi refining and foundation establishment. He tells Jiang that reaching those powerful ranks is the only way to find true freedom, and Jiang promises not to let him down before asking for his orders. Master Xian says he'll handle Wending himself and asks if Jiang has memorized the techniques to destroy the longevity poison, and Jiang confirms he's ready to master the marrow cleansing and body transformation arts once his cultivation begins. Master Xian hands over his jade token and prayer beads, calling them the identity of the Luo family and telling Jiang to keep them safe while giving him one last task to go to Old Luo village and meet a contact there. He emphasizes that this meeting is vital for the survival of the Yinzhou assassination hall, so Jiang immediately heads for the Luo family home in the old village. The scene cuts back to Wending arriving at the hall's territory where the assassins open fire with arrows, but he just forms a powerful shield that vaporizes the attacks. The assassins try to swarm him, but Wending slams his foot down, causing a massive explosion, and starts ripping through them with his dark aura as Master Xian sees the signals and knows the revenge-driven father has arrived. Meanwhile, Jiang enters the house in the old village, completely unaware of the massacre happening back at the hall where Wending is easily slaughtering the assassins because they're just martial artists against a true cultivator. Wending uses his lightning powers to turn everyone to ash while Jiang finds himself trapped when a barrier suddenly activates in the room he's searching. Jiang tries everything to break out, but without cultivation he's stuck until a vision of Master Xian appears before him, telling him not to waste his energy, which makes Jiang panic as he asks the master why he's sealing him in there. Luo Jiang wonders if he made a mistake, but the scene immediately shifts back to Master Xian using a shield to block Wending's lightning strikes while praying that Jiang has safely reached the old village so he doesn't have to hold back anymore. Wending accuses Xian of ordering the hit on his son, but Xian fires back that he simply ordered the execution of a monster who bullied the innocent, preyed on women, and terrorized the entire realm of Yinzhou. Wending sneers that even if Tianqing was just a dog he raised, he was still too good to be taken down by trash like the assassination hall, and he claims Xian must have wanted to die by luring him there. Xian laughs it off, saying like father like son, and points out that if the son was that evil without power then Wending must have a body count he can't even track, which Wending proudly confirms before declaring the entire hall will follow his son to the grave. Xian warns him that as a cultivator he failed to lead his son down a righteous path and instead created a monster who got exactly what he deserved, but Wending just laughs and claims he rules this spiritless land with his own laws. Xian counters his energy and strikes back with lightning-infused martial arts while his vision informs Jiang that the barrier will drop at a specific time and that he's protected him for 16 years but can't go any further. Jiang panics and tries to reach out to the vision, but Xian dissolves into pure energy, explaining that the soul lamp wall is how the 7 killing sect spies on and controls every single person in the hall, meaning they can never truly be free as long as it stands. As Xian floats in the air trading thunderous blows with Wending, his voice tells Jiang that he's actually using Wending to destroy the soul lamp wall so they can finally break the 7 killing sect's chains. He admits it's a massive gamble that will cost every assassin their life, but he questions if they were ever truly alive while dancing like puppets for others, and he tells Jiang his last wish is for him to be free. Jiang is devastated as he watches Xian get brutally wounded by Wending, who drags him back toward death, leaving Jiang feeling helpless as he fruitlessly punches the barrier with his divine punishment. Xian's voice tells him to never lose the prayer beads, to keep his divine powers hidden until he's strong enough to understand why, and to start his journey at the Spirit Butterfly Sect before heading to Tianqing Mountain to find his mother. He warns Jiang to never make contact with the 7 Killing Sect just as Wending crushes Xian further, leaving only 2 soul lamps glowing on the wall, Xian's and Zhang's. Xian continues to provoke Wending by mocking his loser son to ensure the Marquis's father levels the entire hall, because if the hall burns, the 7 Killing Sect loses its grip forever. Wending rants about how the world is divided into high and low ranks and that people like Xian were only born to be vent for the anger of the powerful, but Xian insists he will always fight for the innocent people of Insum. Wending finally loses it and summons a massive black dragon to wipe out the entire sect with one strike, while Xian silently asks Jiang for forgiveness for leaving him alone. The dragon crashes down, collapsing the entire hall and burying Xian under the rubble, but even as he lies dying he smiles to provoke Wending one last time, leading to a second blast that levels everything. Wending laughs at the burning ruins, thinking his revenge is complete, while back at the house, a heartbroken Jiang reveals that Master Xian was actually his biological father who lived a double life to keep him safe. Jiang cries out that freedom wasn't worth losing his father, but once the barrier drops, he rushes back to the hall only to find a wasteland of corpses and fire. He frantically digs through the debris calling out for his father but finds nothing, leaving him to scream in agony over the loss of his home and his family. Alone and broken, he sets out on his journey with a mind full of questions about why his mother is at Tianqing Mountain and what his future holds. Luo Jiang wonders why his father never even mentioned his mother, realizing that the old man spent his whole life hiding their true identity just for this moment, also he could finally be free. Now, he's only got one shot: head to Leo Island, crush the spiritual root test, and get into the Spirit Butterfly Sect so he can finally break into the Central Heaven world and purge the longevity poison from his system. He knows his survival depends on fulfilling his father's wish for him to become a powerhouse cultivator, but he can't help feeling like there are still massive secrets he won't uncover until he tracks down his mom. The scene shifts to the Leo family mansion where the patriarch is prepping his top guys for the spiritual root selection assembly happening in 3 days, telling Leon and the rest they better not disappoint the family name. The guys assure him they'll give it everything they've got because they know how much is riding on this assembly, while Jiang finally arrives in town and overhears some locals hyping up their senior brother. This senior guy is acting all cocky, claiming he's definitely passing the test and getting into the Spirit Butterfly Sect, even joking about how he'll miss his buddies once he becomes a disciple of the Leo ancestors. Jiang thinks about how this test only happens once every 22 years, making it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for everyone there. Suddenly, Liu Ming and Liu Xian come charging through town on horseback so fast they almost trample a little girl, but Jiang lunges in just in time to snatch her away. Liu Xian goes off on Liu Ming for being so reckless and immediately checks on the kid, while Jiang steps up and tells them point-blank that riding like maniacs through the city isn't allowed. Liu Xian proves she's actually got a heart by apologizing sincerely and thanking Jiang for saving the girl before they head out. Jiang figures if they're in that much of a rush, they're definitely hitting up the test too, and a little later he shows up at the venue to find a massive crowd gathered for the big event. He's surprised to see Liu Xian there and realizes she's a core member of the Liu family just as the patriarch welcomes everyone to the assembly. He announces they'll be selecting 2 candidates to join the Spirit Butterfly Sect and mentions that since their ancestors have already hit the Golden Core realm, the winners might even become their direct disciples. The crowd is losing it with excitement, but then the patriarch drops a bombshell. He's invited a genius elder from their allies at the Black Dragon Sect to observe the ceremony. Zhang's heart nearly stops when he hears the name Wending, and as the man who destroyed his home makes his grand entrance, the episode cuts to black. Thanks so much for watching, catch you guys later, take care.